Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So this is the second video on geometry, and in the first video we have already covered different types of line. So if you haven't watched that video, then please watch. And in this video, in this second video of geometry, we are going to learn about the angles. We are going to learn about vertex, acute and obtuse angle, complementary and supplementary angles, reflex angle, and many more. So let's start. So we'll start with vertex first. So we'll learn what is a vertex. So I'll read the definition of vertex. So when two rays have the same starting or end point, they form an angle, and that common point is called vertex. So I'll explain you with the diagram. So let's say there are two rays. That's what I said. Let's say this is one ray, and then there is another ray, and both have the same starting point, common point. Let's say this is A, this is B, and then this is C. So when two rays, here two rays are CA and CB, when two rays have the same starting point or end point, so here since rays are going out of point C, so we'll consider this as the starting same starting point case. So when two rays have the same starting point, they form an angle, and this is the angle. So they form an angle, and the common end point, which is C, is called vertex. So C is vertex over here. I hope this concept is clear. And the second thing that we are going to learn is acute and obtuse angle. So I'll cover the definition first for acute angle. So we are going to learn what is acute angle. So any angle which is, I'll write down, so any angle which is less than 90 degree is acute angle. So if I, let's say this angle is 60 degree, so we can say that angle C is equals to 60 degrees, and since this 60 degree is less than 90 degree, we can say that angle C is an acute angle. I hope it's clear. Now the second type of angle that we are going to cover is obtuse angle. So obtuse angle, I hope the spelling is clear, OBTUSE. So this is obtuse angle. So any angle which is, so I'll write it down, any angle which is greater than 90 degree but less than 180 degree. So you have to remember this thing, it has to be greater than 90 and less than 180, then only that angle will be called an obtuse angle. So let's say I form, I'll add, if I add another line in this like this, and I call it D, so we can say that angle D, I'll mark this angle DCB. By the way, this is how you represent an angle. So this is angle. So angle DCB, let's say that angle DCB is equal, I'm assuming that angle DCB is equals to let's say 110 degrees. So obviously this DCB is greater than 90 degree, and this angle DCB is less than 180 degree. So it qualifies both the condition for obtuse angle, and we can say it, that angle DCB is an obtuse angle. So I hope this clears the what is acute angle and obtuse angle. Okay, so now we are going to cover complementary and supplementary angles. So when we add two angles, let's say there are two angles, angle A equals to 30, Okay, sorry, something happened. Okay, let's say angle A equals to 30 degree and angle B equals to 60 degrees. So when we add two angles and their sum is equals to 90 degree, we say that those two angles are complementary angles. Complementary angles. So in simple language, when we add two angles and the sum is equals to 90 degree, we call those two angles as complementary because they complement each other. So that's why we say that angle A and angle B are complementary angles because they add up to 90. Now let's say angle A equals to 120 degree and angle B is equals to 60 degree, and obviously their sum is equals to 180 degree. So in this situation we call angle A and B as supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. I hope you will remember this. It's a simple thing. So when the angles add up to 90, we call them complementary angles, and when the angles add up to 180, we call them supplementary angles. Okay, so now we'll start with reflex angle. So reflex angle is an angle which is more than 180 degree in measurement. What I'm trying to say is that, let's say we'll take the same previous example which we took for acute and obtuse angles. Let's say there is an angle AB, angle C, which is 30 degree. Okay, so what will be the remaining angle? So as you know, in a quadrant, the whole, I mean circle, the sum of all the angles, sum of all the quadrant is equals to 360 degree. So obviously, if you take the exterior angle, interior is 30 degree, and let's say if I take the exterior one, which I have circled in red, so that angle will be equals to 360 minus 30, which will be equals to 330 degree. 330, sorry, 330 degree. So a reflex angle is, so if I take this as ACB, angle ACB, so as we know from the definition that reflex angle is an angle which is more than 180 degree in measurement. So obviously here angle ACB is equals to 330 degree, which is greater than 180. We'll call it a reflex angle. So now you know all the three type of angles. One is acute, which is less than 90 degree. Second one is obtuse, which is greater than 90 but less than 180, and anything more than 180 is reflex. Here O is obtuse. Okay, so acute angle will be less than 90, obtuse will be between 90 to 180, and reflex will be more than 180. I hope this concept is clear. Okay, now we'll start with corresponding angles, alternate angles, opposite interior angles, vertically opposite angles. So there are some angles which we'll try to learn. So let's say uh, there is a transversal line. So what is a transversal line? So when there is a line which crosses two parallel lines, two or more than two parallel lines, we call that crossing line as the transversal line. I have already covered this in my first video of geometry. You can, if you don't know this concept, then please go and watch that video. So let's say there are two parallel lines. I'll call them, one is M1 and the this is the line M1, and this is, let's say, M2. I'll call it M2. Now let's say uh, there is a line which is crossing these two parallel lines. So what will we call it? Corresponding transversal line. So let's say N. So N is a transversal line since it is crossing two parallel lines. So now N is a transversal line, and let's say this angle is A and this angle is E, and this angle is B, and this angle is C, this angle is D, this angle is, I have already marked E, this is F, and this is G, and this is H. Okay, so now, okay, so now what, so the first angle that we are going to cover is corresponding angle, corresponding angles. Okay, so what are corresponding angles? So A and E are corresponding angles because if you see A and E are both on the same side of parallel lines. So M1 and M2 are parallel lines and A and E are corresponding angles. Similarly, B and F are corresponding. Similarly, B and F are also corresponding, and similarly D and H, because they are also on the same side, D and H are also corresponding, and similarly C and G are also corresponding because they are on the same side. Similarly C and G are also corresponding. So these are corresponding angles. Now, okay, now the second angle that we are going to learn is alternate angle. Alternate angles. So what are alternate angles? C and F are alternate angles. So if you see this angle and this angle, both are alternate angle. I'm talking about this angle. So this and this angle are alternate, and similarly on this side D and E are alternate angles. So basically these are alternate angles. So C and E, comma D and E are alternate angles. So there is a property around it, uh, so which says that corresponding angles are equal and similarly alternate angles are equals. So as we have covered some time back, what are corresponding angles? So angles which are on the same side are corresponding angles. So what are all on the same side? So I'll take this one. So angle A is on the same side of angle E. So angle E and E are A and E are equal because they both are corresponding angle. So, and similarly alternate angles are also equal. So basically if there are two parallel lines like this, then this angle and this angle are alternate angle and they will be equal. So here since M1 and M2 are two parallel lines, so angle C will be equal to angle F because these two are alternate angle, as we already know C and F are alternate. Similarly D and E are also alternate and they will be equal. So D and E both are alternate and they both will be equal. Okay, so I'll end this video over here, and in the next video I'll cover the proportionality theorem. So I'll prepare a separate video for that. Thank you. If you like the video, then please like, share and subscribe.